Hey, going into this season, the way last season ended, I know you've got some different guys and there's a little bit of a different mix of the team, but how much of there is this relishing of just playing after the way everything ended and not getting the opportunity to kind of finish what you had started last year? And just what mode do you see in the guys in the anticipation of this season?
Well, I think first and foremost, when we first got back in July and were able to get in the facility, just an overall excitement, joy, and especially a feeling of not taking things for granted, like beautiful facilities and opportunity to be in a gym because for how many months prior to that, guys were trying to find gyms outside or wherever they could get in and be able to work on the thing they love to do. So just access to the facilities was something that I think the players are really excited about. Then the second part of that was seeing and spending time with their teammates that they haven't had a chance to do. And normally you're with your teammates all summer long, and that break obviously in some ways rejuvenated and excited people to see each other. And then now, as far as practice goes, the good thing about having a veteran team or a team that's a deeper team is you have really competitive practices. They know how to practice. And if you don't bring it, you get embarrassed. So iron sharpens iron. So that's been a good thing for us. At the same time, this will be longer than any of us coaches have ever practiced without playing a game or scrimmaging. And at the end of the day, I know our guys are getting anxious to start the season because normally by now we had already had one or two scrimmages.
And last question I'll ask for now, what difference does it make that Butler and Teague both decided to come back? I know that you probably had a good idea what they were going to do, but the fact that they did make the decision and both of them are back, how much of an impact and how much difference does that make for this team?
Well, it has a huge impact, not only on the court, but what they provide in the locker room and chemistry wise. Two people that really work hard, very well respected, bring great energy, positive guys, positive energy givers in practice. So we're all the beneficiaries of that.
All right, next question. Next question is from Matt Roberts with KWKT TV in Waco. He's getting bumped up in the line since he wore a tie to the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, you gotta at least look the part, right? That's probably good.
Now the question is, you got slacks and dress shoes on underneath?
Oh, yeah, I do this time. Yeah, just in case I was ready, I was prepared. Well, Coach, obviously the Big 12 preseason awards came out. Jared, the preseason player of the year, two other guys on the All Big 12 preseason team. What does that do for your program? Jared being the third preseason player of the year and just having that recognition.
Well, first and foremost, as a coach, you're always excited when any of your players get recognized because you believe in them, and when other people do, it's really gratifying and exciting for them. At the same time, we know that what makes the Big 12 such a special conference is there's so many good players, good coaches, good teams, and just because you get a preseason honor doesn't mean nearly as much as what the postseason honors mean, and that's why at the end of the day it's a nice recognition and compliment. But part of being upperclassmen, you know that that's not the end of the journey, and you haven't reached your destination because you've been honored with such a privilege.
Jared came in here and was special from his freshman year. How much has he even grown beyond that as he gets ready to enter year 3 here?
Well, he's definitely become a lot more solid in his game and improved different aspects of his game. At the same time, I think off the court, his leadership has really grown, and his presence. And right now, he's having such an impact, not only on our campus, but in all Division I, with him being on the committee and making recommendations to hopefully make our game better.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, I saw Kendall Cal put his tie on, so next question is from Kendall with our Daily Bears.
Scott, I heard you yesterday in the alumni event mention that you plan to stick with the no-middle defense last season. Given that was a pretty radical change defensively from what you've done in the past and it paid off so well, what made you think going into last season you could pull off that kind of change? And kind of what does that speak about where you are as a program, that you're willing to take risks like that in the hopes they pay off like they did last season?
Well, I think our players and staff deserve a lot of the credit with that. And at the same time, I think why we changed defense is really fit our personnel, and playing guys that a little smaller than we've had more length in the past, especially at the 3 when you got 6'10", 6'11" guys. And then different defenses and offenses schematically always fit based on your personnel. So that was something that we thought our team would be successful. They deserve all the credit for executing it and believing in it. And now, I mean, coming off a year like we did, you want to make tweaks, you want to make adjustments, but it'd be foolish to leave something that was so good for this personnel, and we returned so many of them.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next question from Paul Catalina with Sikkim through 65.
Scott, the schedule came out officially yesterday. I know that last week you said that it was like version 18 or 19 of what you guys were trying to do. Do you foresee in coming years kind of a modification of the schedule to maybe do it kind of like you had to do it this year, but with better planning and more opportunity with pushing the season back a little bit?
I don't know about that, but I can tell you one thing that has been exciting from a coaching standpoint, and I'm sure a player standpoint as well. You're seeing more quality matchups this year than you've probably seen before. And I know we'll go back to the same number of games, and that'll be a good thing. But I do see us continuing to play a great non-conference schedules because it's great for college basketball. And I know players always want to play against the best. So it's been exciting just as a coach to have an opportunity to schedule some and look at some games that maybe in the past you weren't able to schedule just because people were so locked in on their traditional schedule, traditional rivalries, to traditional ways of doing things.
And what version of the schedule do you anticipate being the final one, and when will we see that?
I'm looking at DK and he's shaking his head. I hope we can change all those TBD things shortly. Or TBA things shortly.
There's a difference between TBA and TBD. TBA means we know who it is, but we can't announce it. TBD means we really don't know. So.
Well, and in fairness, we do have a couple of both. we as long as the testing protocols and everything go according, then we know. So that's why we left it at that.
Next question from Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider.
Scott, how we doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Like Matt said, Jared came in here playing pretty well. He took a big jump last year. How can he get better? Where does his game go this year?
Well, I think first and foremost starts with ball security and assist to turnover ratio. Jared is a great passer, but a lot of times takes a lot of risks because of his ability to believe in his passing ability. And we need him to be 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 2.5-to-1. And I think that's one thing he's worked on and trying to be more consistent with his floor game. And then the second thing is his shooting numbers, starting with his free throw percentage and then improving his field goal percentage from 3 and 2 as well.
Scott, you talked about the World University Games. Does in the foreign tours, does that count as your foreign tour then, or is that separate of that?
No, it's completely separate. It's just similar from the standpoint you're in a foreign country, you're together, you're able to bond, you're able to play games. Again, what an honor and a privilege to have a chance to compete for a gold medal.
Thanks, Scott.
Next question from Ross Burkhart with the Austin American Statesman.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So you've obviously come up through the ranks at Baylor alongside Coach Mulkey over the years with respective rises in your programs and with some overlap there, particularly right now with being top national contenders at the same time. What are some of the traits that over your time knowing her that you've come to respect in relation to the connections that she builds with her athletes as a leader for the women's team?
Well, I think she's extremely consistent, and she demands perfection each and every day, and she holds her teams accountable for that. I think she's and her program and staff have done a tremendous job in bringing in very talented players that have bought into the team's concept, and that's why they've been so successful. And I know our men's program has always had great admiration and respect for just how they carry out their business and how serious they are and professional they are in everything they do.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question from Darby Brown with KWTX TV.
Yeah, hey coach. So just looking at the schedule, you have 27 games in 9 states. With football, we've seen increases in COVID cases throughout traveling. I guess, are you concerned at all about the amount of travel and how do you guys plan to handle that?
Well, 9 states for now. We'll see how many it ends up being. As you know, with Jimmy V being moved out of, possibly being moved out of Florida. So the one nice thing is when we travel, most of it's done charter, and that helps. And that's a blessing for the Big 12. I'm one of those optimistic guys. I can't wait for that vaccine though, and I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. And I know we're excited to get back to playing, and then from there, hopefully it'll be a situation where it'll be safe to where we can have more and more fans too. So I know a lot of respect for just how far we've come with testing and treatments and working on a vaccine, and hopefully in the near future, it can continue to progress to where we can see numbers continually go down.
Thanks.
Next question from Kevin Lonnquist with SamSports.com.
Scott, I'm sorry I got on a little bit late, but I didn't. And so if this question was asked, I apologize. But just given what Tristan Clark experienced last year with the knee and so forth, what are you seeing with him right now? How is he progressing? And what do you think you guys can get from him this season, if he's all the way back or if he's not all the way back, that sort of thing?
Well, first and foremost, Tristan's body's in a lot better situation than it was last year. He's probably 20 pounds lighter, and because of that does take some wear and tear off his knee. It does give him more mobility, and Tristan's a skilled player, and his touch and feel for the game, that's still there. Got great hands. As far as coaches, we've done a good job, I think, thus far in making sure that we haven't done too much, too fast, and too consistently, where you'd add that pounding in a time where you don't need to pound each and every day. So Tristan's somebody that did a lot of work getting his body down to that weight, and so far so good as far as maintaining it.
And then following up on the point guard question, I know that Jared will probably be your primary ball handler, but can you see a real rotation with him, maybe Davion, and then as well as maybe Flagler, or how can you kind of see it? Because it seems like point guard has become such a rotation type of position over the last couple of years.
Well, I think you look at a lot of teams out there, and several of the NBA teams are playing 2 and 3 point guards. So you much rather have guys who can handle it and pass it and shoot it rather than guys that are limited. So by having multiple guys, hopefully many hands make light work.